Really quick about cold calling. How tough is that? Like, is that a tough
So
thing to do?
I can only tell you my experience. It was awful for me. It was torturous. It tapped into deeper fears of being rejected. It was really it was the biggest bottleneck in my professional career was my struggle around cold calling. So when I turned the business around, I took a look at what here are the three or four things I do pretty well. Ran them past my coach to get a third party perspective on it. And then I started hiring other people to do the things that I wasn't good at. So I tell my CEOs now, if you're struggling with something, there are three options I see you having basically. You can automate it, you can delegate it, hire it to somebody else, automate, delegate, or outsource it. So if you're not good at something, who else? Someone is going to be good at it. I had some great recruiters who are really good at it. They're fearless. I would just listen to them and I sit there and man, I just admire them. It's like, if you're playing baseball, I'm a good hitter, but I'm a terrible pitcher. So I respect anybody who can pitch. It's like they just have a skill set that I don't have, but yet the team needs. Well, in a business, you need people who can sell. You need people who are fearless, and you need people who don't they can either deflect the no, or absorb it and learn from the no. But that was just not my sweet spot.
I've listened to a lot of different people talk about like sales and cold calling. One of the guys you might know, Grant Cardone. I've heard
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of podcasts with him, and one thing I that stands out that he said was he's always looking for no's. Like he
Mm-hmm.
wants to just bring them up like out from underneath, the surface because he wants to address them and anything that, if there are like underlying, concerns, he doesn't want to just leave them like, unresolved. He wants them people to like speak up. And so he
Mm-hmm.
actually like goes out and looks for them, which is for me, I'm like, oh, I don't want to hear a no.
Yeah. Oh, I was probably more like you. I just want to be liked, and I just want you to say yes. And the frustrating part for me is they would say no before they knew what I was offering.
Mm,
And if you back in the day, there's you drive past a manufacturing facility, write down the name of the address, ABC Manufacturing, 123 Main Street, Warren, Michigan, and we call them because they have a big sign saying "Help Wanted." So you need help. I have people who need jobs. How can we work together? And they say, no, we don't want to use recruiters. We don't do this. We don't do. Well, if what you're doing is working for you, you probably wouldn't have the help wanted sign. So what you're doing isn't working. Let me help you, and it would just be very frustrating in the space of you're saying no. You don't know what you're saying no to,
mm.
and I used to find it just really insulting.
Yeah, that's such a good point. That they don't even want to hear you out, like to begin
Mm-hmm.
with, and that they don't even know what they're saying no to because they don't even want to hear you out. Yeah,
Right.
it's that's like a just like a terrible feedback loop that is hard to. It seems like it would be hard to break.
It is really hard to break. I used to have this cartoon that would sit on my desk, and it was just hand drawn from a sales magazine. And it's back in the medieval days. It's guys on a castle, and he's got people coming at him. They're shooting down at them, but he's shooting one bow and arrow. Behind on the other side is someone making a decision to not buy a machine gun because they just don't even want to hear the presentation. It's like, no, we don't need what you're selling. We don't need you. When in the imagery, clearly to defend the castle, you need a better weapon. But nope, it's just easier for us to say no. But when you look at it from a brain science perspective and a behavioral perspective, human beings are driven by negative bias. We're driven to say no. Um, it keeps us. We think it keeps us safe. So if you're a buyer for a company, you're telling me no because if you say yes to me and I let you down, that I'm not now a negative reflection of you to your superior, and that could potentially, in your mind, put your job at jeopardy.